Hey everyone, Binky here today, closing out the fire signs. We are on our 9th zodiac sign, and that is Sagittarius. Yes, the final fire sign of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. We are here. So Sagittarius, I'm not gonna lie, I love Sagittarius. Sagittarius is one of those signs I don't think anyone can hate. They're probably one of the most likable signs of the zodiac. Very few can dislike them. They're extremely charming, very charming, and they know it. They know it, and they use it to their advantage. But the thing is, they don't mean it in a bad way. You know, they don't. But they know they are, and people love them for it. They, you know, these are the people with the killer smile, and you know, the opposite sex just loves them, or even their own sex just loves them. Let me tell you, Sagittarius is probably the serial dater of the zodiac, but not necessarily in a bad way. That's not saying everyone who's a Sagittarius, you know, you're like, ooh. No, absolutely not. So Sagittarius is normally ruled by purple. Purple represents Sagittarius well. In fact, that's what most people use for Sagittarius. And also dark blues, navy blues very much represent Sagittarius. But for me, I'm not going to head there. And here's why. I find Sagittarius to be really interesting. They're half man, half animal with their arrow. And that's their glyph, is an arrow pointing up to the skies, which I'll explain, or at least the way I view it, in a minute. But, you know, they're very worldly because they travel, you know, but there's this kind of animalistic side to them because they are half animal, but they also are half man. And so they're kind of this mix of both. But with the arrow, it's pointing up to the heavens because Sagittarius is a little bit more, when you go in the beginning of the signs, like Aries is the beginning, and then you go all the way around to Pisces. Well, Aries is the baby of the zodiac, so with the baby, they're exploring everything, putting it in their mouth, everything's new. That's how Aries is. It's very excited. By the time you get to the end of the zodiac, the signs are a little bit more mature. They're a little bit more worldly. They're a little bit beyond certain, well, I don't want to say certain pleasures because, you know, Capricorn tends to like earthly goods, and you know, Sagittarius likes the company of other people sometimes, you know, so it's more of they're a little bit more mature than maybe some of the other signs. They're not as you know, as some of the earlier ones. If that makes sense, you know it does. You've seen these people. So that's what Sagittarius is. They're just a little bit more mature. So the look that I'm going to go for is a little bit more grounded, almost like an earth sign with a little hint of fire, because they're still fire. They may not be as fiery as crazy Aries or the showman that is Leo, but they're still a fire sign, and they will right at you. So my eye is prepped. So what I'm going to do is just go in here with Aquarius and just use this to build up a pretty color on the crease. It's just to be a nice transition color. It doesn't need to be dark. We will darken it up. But Sagittarius, what to say about Sagittarius? So Sagittarius is an interesting one. Sagittarius is probably one of the most blunt signs of the zodiac. But it's an interesting contrast because Sagittarius is very calm. They're kind of, you know, almost like that surfer dude, kind of, yeah, you know, laid back kind of person. They're just extremely laid back people. They love to have a good time. They will do anything to have a good time. So these aren't people who are going to do well with people who are sticks in the mud or who may not be as outgoing. You know, somebody like Cancer or Cancer's not going to necessarily love the energy of Sagittarius. It's going to be exhausting because they're very much people persons. What's interesting with Sagittarius is they love people to an extent, and then they need to leave them alone because then they're annoyed and they're like, you know what, you're bugging me, so I need you to go away. That also is Sagittarius. It's like, you know what, give me some space. So what I mean by that is that they love people. These guys will hang out all the time, but they also need time to be alone because they're this interesting contrast. And actually what I'm going to do next is go in with Aquarius and Sagittarius, its own color. The green I'm not going to use. I don't really think that's going to work for this. But So we just want a little bit more pop of color to this. So I think it's a nice transition. So Sagittarius, you know, they love people, they love having a good time, but they also are very freedom loving. So after having a great time, they love to disappear for a while and do their thing. And actually, they're the most outdoorsy sign of the zodiac, along with Aries, but I think Sagittarius is more. I've known quite a few. Actually, I've dated many Sagittariuses, but that's a whole different story. And a lot of them loved camping. Not all of them. Like, there's some who are going to say, I don't like it at all. Well, yeah, but a lot of them do. And if they don't love camping, here's the thing with Sagittarius. They are known as the world travelers of the zodiac. They are the type of people who, so here's the thing. Sagittarius is always looking for truth. Sagittarius is the philosopher of the zodiac. So these are people who, they're looking for truth. And not your truth. They're looking for their own truth. So what does that mean? So I'm going to go in with Aquarius, because Aquarius is just the go-to color, and this is going to be like the fire. So we're going to start with this. So they're the truth seekers. And what this means is that they, like, you could tell them your truth. And Sagittarius is intrigued by that. They love listening to other people's adventures and stories. They'll also listen to other people's opinions, but they won't necessarily take it on as their own. In fact, that's really, okay, Sagittarius is not a follower. They're not going to pretty much do what you want them to. You know, they're extremely independent, and they're not having it. So, you know, they'll listen. They'll listen to other religions or different philosophies, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to take it on. What they will do is they'll look for the truth for themselves. They'll go, okay, that's an interesting theory, but what I'm going to do is look on my own. So they'll research it, you know, they will, you know, if they're not a religious person, what I find is that Sagittarius isn't usually religious as much as philosophical. Even if they are atheist, and there's some out there, there is everyone, every group has atheists, but I find them to be either, well, I do find some to be religious, but I find for the most part for them to be philosophical or spiritual. If they're agnostic, these are the people who aren't going to say, well, there isn't anything, but let me look to see what else is out there. So they'll like go to a synagogue, or they will go to, you know, some monastery, Buddhist monastery, and try to be there for a month and meditate. Go to India to try to find themselves. This is what Sagittarius does, because they want to find their own truth. Which leads me back to travel. Because of this, they want to experience different cultures, different languages, different things themselves, because they know that their own culture isn't enough. There's more than what they were born into. So I'm going to go in with Capricorn and go into this like bronzy kind of woodsy color. I just love this. And go ahead and start putting this on the lid. So Sagittarius is the world traveler. They're the wanderer, you know, because they love freedom. They love to understand others. They really do. So they'll travel the world, but they won't do it in the way that you necessarily expect. These aren't the people that are going to go have a checklist, a bucket list of things like, oh, I need to go to the Eiffel Tower. Now I'm going to go to the Tower of London. Now I'm going to go to Victoria Falls. I've seen it. That's not Sagittarius. Sagittarius will do these things, but they're going to want to do what the locals do. They're going to want to experience what the locals do. You know, they're going to take the path less taken, because that's more interesting. That's where you're going to find the true culture, and that's what they're looking for. They don't want to go to Orlando or Epcot and go to the Japan booth in Epcot and go, yeah, I've been to Japan. No, that's a manufactured version of what Japan is, and that's not what Sagittarius is looking for. So now I'm going to go in with Capricorn again. I think Capricorn is exactly what I'm looking for in terms of Sagittarius. And I'm just going to put this in the corner so we can blend this out. So Sagittarius is always looking for the truth. They're not looking for your truth. They're looking for their truth, because that's what's most important to them. So they will wander. They're known as the wanderer. These are people who will backpack across the world as soon as they graduate high school by themselves and see the world. And here's the thing about Sagittarius. They're not afraid to be alone. They're actually the bachelors and bachelorettes of the zodiac. Some of these people never get married. They don't care. And it's not because they can't build bonds with people. It's just that they are the most freedom-loving sign of the zodiac. So if you have a lot of Sagittarius influence in your chart, you are going to be a free spirit. You really are going to be a free spirit, and you do not necessarily want to be tied down. So a lot of these people don't end up getting married until later on in their life, if they ever do. It's just not who they are. They're the bachelor, bachelorettes. Now, if some of them do, it's because they found the right person. This is what I find with Sagittarius. These are not people who will settle. They may have a lot of relationships here and there to keep themselves company or to have a good time. Take the original brush, which should only have the light colors, and we're going to blend this in. Yeah, you know, they love to have a good time. These are people who, like, if you like to drink or have fun, these are the people who are really, Sagittarius has a great time. But, you know, they're not going to just settle. Like, some people settle down just to settle down. They panic and they want a family or whatever. No, Sagittarius isn't like that. They're going to wait until they find the right person. That's just who they are. And if they never find that right person, they'll continue doing what they do because they're okay being alone. Go back in with Capricorn. So they're okay with being alone. They don't care like some of the other signs. They really don't. They prosper that way. They really do. So they're, you know, if somebody, here's the worst thing for Sagittarius. Somebody coming in and telling them what to do and trying to take away their freedom. That is the fastest way to get a Sagittarius out of your life. Go ahead. If you're dating a Sagittarius, start putting on a lot of rules and basically trying to keep them at your side. You will not keep them at your side long. I guarantee you that. They will be gone because they're freedom loving. That's not what they're about. So my advice is to just let them do it. You know, let them be. But the thing is, Sagittarius won't stay with you unless you're the one. They're really hard to peg down. So this may be disappointing because they're very charismatic people. I mean, people just love Sagittarius. But that being said, these are not the people that are going to settle down unless they feel that this person's really right for them. Let me go in with actually Sagittarius. Yes. So Sagittarius in a lot of ways can be, when they're younger, you know, they're free loving. So I don't want to say immature because I guess to a degree maybe they are a little bit. And so they need to do their own thing and you know, live their wild oats. You know, they need to just go out there and do that. And they need to have a good time. They need to travel. They need to create their own truths. And so because of that, you know, they're not going to settle down till later. And they may never fully. And for those who are Sagittarius and say, well, I don't travel, I don't do any of this, you know, it may be that other things are influencing your chart, but it could be that you go about it in a different way. Maybe you have a great love for languages. You could have a really great love for languages, or you love going out to different foods. Like, I want Thai food tonight. I want Ethiopian food tonight. You know, I want Malaysian food. I want Colombian food. And so maybe you go about it that way. I'm going to have to clean this up because this is a little bit crazy. So next I'm going to go in with Capricorn and put this under the eye a little bit. So that's what I mean. It may be that maybe you don't travel a lot. Maybe you can't. But that's okay because you find a different way. Maybe you go to cultural events. Maybe you like world music. Also, you just may be philosophical. Maybe you really enjoy psychology. Like a lot of psychologists would be, psychology would be a great job actually for Sagittarius. They really love things like that because it goes into the mind and the psyche and all these things, which would very much interest Sagittarius. And again, we're going to clean this up a little bit because these are really powdery. Great pigment, but very powdery. So we're going to end up cleaning this up. So don't worry if it makes a mess. I don't. So, you know, they're really creative people too. These are some of the most creative people. I'm going to go back in with Aquarius and just kind of fix this up a bit. Aquarius and Capricorn, and just fix the lid. So they're very much they're very creative people. You know, they like to think outside the box. They don't want to do what everyone else is doing. These aren't people who are happy doing the same job over. You know, it just doesn't do much for them. So they're going to find what suits them. And a lot of the times it's going to be philosophical, or it's going to be cultural, or it's going to be a teacher. They're also the teachers of the zodiac because they have so much truth and so many things that they've learned that they want to pass that on to others. They'd be good as an actor, as, you know, as an artist, something that's a little bit different than what most people do. And they're not big into money. I mean, yeah, money's nice, but it's more of being happy with their own life. Going with Aquarius, you know, whatever that means. As long as they're happy, they will do it. That's what they want to do. They want to, it's not about material things, which could be more of a Capricorn trait. It's more of, you know, these are, I actually knew one, and he was big into Buddhism and big into living a simple lifestyle. He came from a rich family, gave it all up, and lives very simply, and he's happy doing it. That's him, very much him. He doesn't care because he's like, the rest of it doesn't matter. Very much a Sagittarius thing, and I, you know, absolutely adore him for it. One of the most interesting people I've ever met. So yeah, that kind of is how Sagittarius is. So I'm going to go ahead and just fix this up. I just want this to have a really nice blend between these because I just want this dark color to blend into the fire. So there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fix this look up a little bit, just clean it up because it went out here, and then I'm going to continue on with the look. Okay, so I made a few changes with this look. So what I did was I decided not to line the eyes because I just don't feel like it would have done much for this look. So I didn't use any eyeliner. Sagittarius could not be bothered. But I did end up putting mascara on, as you can see. So go ahead. You can put liner on if you like. But, you know, this is what I'm going for. Sagittarius just can't be bothered. So then I also put a black eyeliner on the waterline of my eyes to really give it more of a smoky look. And then I took Aquarius and I put that underneath and kind of blended it in more so it wasn't the Capricorn color so much. I wanted this fire color to come down below and then be broken up a little bit with the black eyeliner. So that's what I did to fix it up and just cleaned it up a bit. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to take a blush. I really need like a TV tray to make this area better. It's just basically on my bed and me sitting here. Yeah, so it's kind of fun. So what I'm going to do is, and you can take any kind of bronzy kind of look. Another one that would work really well is Sweetie Pie, especially if you have light skin tones like myself. But we're going to go ahead and put this here for a natural kind of peachy look. I'd almost like it to be a little bit more bronzy. But I don't have a lot of things like that just because it's not really a look that I go for a lot. But you want almost like a nice flush of color, but almost bronzy, as if, you know, Sagittarius has been out in the sun all day. Because Sagittarius would do that, you know, fishing, outdoor stuff. So it's this bronze, like, healthy look. You can go ahead and put some around here. Just bronze yourself up. I don't tend to do that, but you go ahead and do that if you're into it, because it would look really gorgeous with this look. So to add on to this, I'm going to go ahead and take Barbados from Itsy, but you could take any kind of color that's this kind of bronzy color, depending on what works for your skin tone, and put that wherever you need it. I'm just going to put this right here, just because I want a hint of gold. I want to keep this more of a warm kind of look, and I like this because it's not too much. I just want it to be a hint, almost like the moonlight glowing off Sagittarius' face. There you go, with its little archer self pointing up. You know, you highlight whatever you like to do. I don't want too much. I just want a light kiss of it, because we have a lot going on here. So now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take a neutral lipstick. Well, I mean, it's not that neutral. It's actually more of like a bronzy kind of look, but you can do a very natural look because this is a really dark look. But I'm going to go ahead and take it to the next level, but feel to do something a lot more docile if that works for you. This is MAC. I'm not going to get too much into it. I can't, the name's not even on this. That's really weird. But this was part of the Christmas collection, so, of last year. So I'm going to use this. What I want to do to tie it in a little bit better, because I'm finding that this is, you know, what ended up happening was I actually was going to use Leo, the new Bite Beauty Leo lipstick for this, and I ended up leaving it at a friend's house. So I am improvising. It would have been perfect. I was like, this is going to be perfect and I can showcase it. No. And I realized in the middle of taping this, I had done that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Bite Beauty's Gold and just put a little bit on the lips. And the reason why is because I just want to, because this is more of a warm look, to just tie it in a little bit. Okay, so again, this is a gold. I think it was limited edition for Bite Beauty. They no longer have it, but this is kind of similar to what Leo looks like, so I'm kind of disappointed that I don't have that. So, yes, this is Sagittarius, the final look. Now, it is bold. When I was thinking about this look, yeah, Sagittarius is very laid back and kind of, hey, but I just felt that all the other fire signs were very bold, because even though Sagittarius is a little bit less flashy than the other fire signs, I felt like this just represented the look. Even though it may be a lot, and there's certain, like, you know, Sagittarius is going, whoa, I would never wear that much. But, you know, I just feel like they needed something bold like the other fire signs. So this is why I went with it. So also I wanted the gold highlights because, again, Sagittarius is fire. If you look at the 3 fire signs, you have Aries, which is the baby. You know, they're impulsive, they're excited, they're like little children who want to put everything in their mouths. That's what Sagittarius is, or isn't, Aries is. That's what Aries is, very much a child, you know, exploring the world. Leo's in between, you know, it's childlike in some ways, and then it's more adult in other ways. You know, it's that middling. And then you have the oldest, which is Sagittarius, who's a little bit wiser. You know, they're still a smart ass. Oh, are they a smart ass? They are blunt. They're to the point. Sagittarius is good at reading people because they've had the experience through the wheel. They know how to read people. They know how to read situations. They're really great mediators as long as they can keep their cool and not always be so blunt. That's the problem sometimes, that Sagittarius can be so blunt. If you don't want to know something, don't ask Sagittarius unless you're ready for it. But that being said, they're very insightful to you and those around them in situations. So they actually make really good mediators because they see things for what they really are. So you just have to get past that bluntness. What's interesting with the Sagittarius is that they're so blunt. But then they flash that charming smile and you're like, oh, it's Sagittarius. You can't be mad at Sagittarius for long. God, you want to be. But they're so charming. And I know this because I dated, like I said, probably more than any other sign, Sagittarius is. I know Sagittarius is pretty well. Also my moon sign, which I'll explain in the last video when I do a rapid video of this series, is your moon sign basically is anything that has to do with self and emotion and who you really are when you're alone, when you're in your own space and you have nobody to show things to. It's just you when you're alone. If you know what sign that is, that's going to represent you. It's also going to represent mother and yourself emotionally. And I'm a Sagittarius, and you know, so I kind of know what I'm talking about as far as a lot of the traits of Sagittarius, because I have a few Sagittarius planets. They're just really great. They're really great placements. Sagittarius is very lucky. So if you have Sagittarius in certain areas of your chart, it's a very lucky thing. It's a very optimistic part of your chart. Being that it's in my moon, I tend to be optimistic about people, relationships. Even if it goes to crap, I'll still go, but you know what? There was a life lesson and I'm going to move forward with this and it's going to be better next time. That very much is a Sagittarius type thing. You know, Jupiter is big. It's expansive. It's constantly expanding. That's what Jupiter is. It's jovial. You know, it's lucky. And with expansion, that actually represents Sagittarius well because it's expanding out. It's expanding its experiences in life and its knowledge. And by traveling, by reading, by learning all these new topics, they're expanding. You know, it's kind of interesting because they do really well with Gemini. Gemini is very much about learning and picking up new things. And so Sagittarius and Gemini would be a great mix, actually, excellent mix. But if you ever want a video like that, let me know. But because it's really interesting. But those two would get together well because they'd bounce ideas off of each other and they would have a lot of fun together. You know, unlike probably Cancer wouldn't do well with Sagittarius. Neither would Taurus, most likely. There's a lot of signs that wouldn't. Scorpio probably wouldn't like him much either. But, you know, that being said, Scorpio is one of the most charming signs of the zodiac. They just are. You know, they love deeply, though they may not always show it at first. They're interesting because they'll try to act like they're in a good mood or they're doing well, and the reality is when Sagittarius gets upset, they'll get angry. They're good at barking at people, but then when they're really hurt, they need to pull away. Sagittarius pulls away and does their own thing because they need to. It's the way to protect themselves, and it's a way for them to recharge. So if they pull away from you, don't take it personally. It's just them trying to fix themselves. That's a very Sagittarius thing. And that's why they're the wanderer or the loner to a degree. They're not a loner because they like people, but it's kind of this contradiction. You know, they will go off by themselves to repair themselves. And that's a very Sagittarius thing. They're not really big people to ask for help, but they'll be the first to help people, especially they're extremely loyal. Oh, you know, the fire signs in general are about loyalty. And Sagittarius definitely is the same. So yes, so that is the 9th sign of the zodiac. And just so you know, their motto, because everyone has a motto, is I see. They're the great seeker. And so they do see because they're philosophical. They could be religious. They could be spiritual. They're always looking for knowledge. If something interests them, they will always find the truth for them, but they won't push that truth on you because they want you to also find your own truth. So that's why Sagittarius is I see, is because they're the seeker. So yes, there you have it. Sagittarius, one of the most beautiful signs of the zodiac. I will say that I just find them to be such interesting people, such beautiful people. I'm a big fan. I hope you are too. So yes, we're wrapping up the fire signs. The fire signs are now closed. And what I'm going to do is at the end of the series, like I said, I'm going to do a video and go through everything and pick my favorite looks and which looks I would change and give some other information. So look for that. That's going to be 4 videos from now because we have 3 more. 3 more signs. And the 10th sign, 3 misunderstood zodiac signs and 2 that are runner-ups. And this one's the final one. This is it. This is Capricorn. Misunderstood finalist. Not the top 3, but definitely a runner-up. Yeah, that would be Capricorn. And I feel like Capricorn gets a lot of crap thrown at them. I really do. Capricorn's the hard worker. You know, they're the last earth sign and they're the most mature of the 3. And they're very hardworking. They're very studious. They know how things are supposed to be, or at least in their view, and they want people to follow that protocol because if you don't, you're a jerk, and they're going to let you know. So Capricorn is the hard worker. It's the worker bee, but not for long. Not for long. No. So they're very interesting, and I think they're completely misunderstood. And fun fact, and I will repeat this in the video, Capricorn, you are least likely to, well, earth signs in general, but especially Capricorn, you're least likely to believe in astrology. So you're going to look at this and go, just show me how to do the look. This is a bunch of crap. Yeah, Capricorn, I still love you. So, yes. So look for that. We're coming to the home stretch. And until next time, have a wonderful day. Bye.